still did not care. Like, he was a vulnerable man who was unapologetic about his love for God. Hi Ministries family, welcome back to our YouTube channel, and if this is your very first time, welcome. This is Ministries podcast where we talk about faith, healing, discovery, identity, hope and love. Today, concerning the character of David, we are going to talk about praising God. We're going to talk about praising God, and I want us to know that praising God is very important. It's something that we should never underestimate. On this channel we've talked about Thanksgiving. In the month of August we talked about Thanksgiving. We established certain points about Thanksgiving, why it's important for us to thank God, and how does it help us. What are the things, what's the kind of posture we should have whenever we are giving thanks to God. I will share the link in the description below for you to watch the videos, and you will be blessed. Praising God. And one thing I love about the character of David is his art of thanksgiving. Even in the storm, even in trouble, even in trial, he understood that thanksgiving is very important, and that was what helped him, and that's what inspired the Psalms. Psalms that we read, that we study, those were because in those moments of trials, in those moments of like down times, he was always expressing his gratitude to God. Number one place where I really loved his spirit was when the ark of God was brought back into Israel, and the way he didn't care about his position, he didn't care about the people around him, he didn't care about the fact that, oh, I'm a king. He was vulnerable before God, and he expressed his gratitude to God, like, the ark of God is back to where it's supposed to be. And even when Saul's daughter Micah was saying that, oh, aren't you ashamed that you are thanking God in front of your servant, not even minding your position? He still did not care. Like, he was a vulnerable man who was unapologetic about his love for God, about how to express himself to God. He expressed himself. He understood that praise was a choice. Thanksgiving was a choice for him. It now depends on how you now navigate it. If you decide to go ahead to thank God, or you decide to just be ashamed about God, and you are just saying that, oh, I'm shy, I don't want to. When I get to my secret place, you should be unashamed when it comes to Thanksgiving. Like, there's something that Thanksgiving does in your life. There is something that Thanksgiving does and understand that Thanksgiving is not just during the good times. So it's the good time, let's thank God. No, in the good time, in the bad time, learn to thank God. Thanking God is very important. It's something that, it's a lifestyle. It is something that we should cultivate. It's something that we should, trust me, Thanksgiving is a secret to certain things that you don't know of. Thanksgiving is a secret. I'm going to say it again. It's a secret that the Holy Spirit is supposed to be that. Thanksgiving is going to open secrets to certain things that you don't know of. It's going to open doors that are unexplainable. It is not to say that prayer is not important. Prayer is important, but there are some things that Thanksgiving Thanksgiving is something that you have to cultivate. I've shared my story of my journey to healing, of how after using drugs, after going to several hospitals, things still did not change. But the moment I cultivated the habit of thanking God, even in the midst of the storm, things began to change. For you to understand that it is very important to cultivate the habit of thanksgiving. Another thing I love about David was when he lost the child that he had with Bathsheba, because the means in which he had the child with Bathsheba was a wrong means, and God said that this child is going to die. After praying to God and begging God, and going through all and fasting and like, God please, and he lost the child, and even the servants were like, oh, we don't want to tell him, we don't want him to know. When he got the news, what did he do? He did not cry, he did not murmur, he didn't say that God is a bad God. He didn't do that. What he did was that he went to have his bath. Like, he anointed himself, dressed up and ate, not because the death of the child didn't pain him, but because he understood that God had told him, but he understood the fact that God's will be done, and God that did that will show, and that was what helped him believe, and he had faith and went in to Bathsheba again, and they had Solomon, who became the king of Israel. Look at how God works his things. If David had murmured, he had clamored, he had scattered everywhere and said, God, why did you do this to me? Do you think that what now came as a product of that act that he had, do you think that it would have happened? Even when Saul was threatening his life, was at the edge of, I want to kill this boy, he wants to take over my he still had that heart of thanksgiving, that God, I know that you are going to save me, you are going to deliver me, for you are my glory and the lifter up of my head. Like, looking at the Psalms and looking at reading through the character of David, it's made me love David the more, and it's made me like want to love God and give myself to thanksgiving, because it was that man. David is not that man after God's own heart. There are some times that David master will do some things that are very bad, and you still cast me not away from your presence, oh Lord. Understand that thanksgiving is very like praise. There is something that praise does to the heart of God. It's like you have the code to God's heart. I feel that you have the code to God's heart, and you're just pressing that code. You're pressing that code. That's just something that we need to understand. If you don't take anything away from today's video, one thing I want you to take away is that praise is very important. It is something that is very dear to God. It's your way of expressing your gratitude. It's your way of expressing your love to Him. It's your way of being vulnerable, forsaking all and coming to Him and telling Him that I love you, Father. I love you, Lord. For your goodness and mercies never fail. You are just expressing your heart to God. You're expressing your all, your love. You're loving upon Him. You are loving upon Him, showing Him gratitude, and you are telling Him that, Lord, I love you. And I just want to encourage you that no matter what you're going through, storms will come and go. But understand that lifestyle of gratitude should never leave you. Things will happen that are uncomfortable. Things will happen that are comfortable. But one thing should remain, that heart of gratitude, expressing your love, loving upon Him, is something that we should delight ourselves in. It's something that we should delight ourselves in. I hope we've learned one or two things from today's video. Please do well to like, to share, and to comment. I would like to have a conversation with all of you. I want to have a conversation. I want us to talk about, like, what is that thing that like you felt that should I really, do I really need to thank God even in this situation? I really want you to comment and let's have a conversation. I really want to know. And from last week's conversation too, you can also, like, what is that thing that you've been waiting on God for, and maybe there is something that you should have sought his face for, or there are some things, part of the things that we discussed, that you should have actually done that you didn't do. I would love to have it. Trust me, no judgment. No judgment. We are guilty of some of these things that we discuss right here. No judgment, and I would love to have a conversation with you. Have a great day. Please do well to like, to share, to subscribe. Also follow every of our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. Do well to like every of our content. They are awesome content that will inspire you, content that you will be blessed through. Please follow every of our social media platform, and please listen to every of our weekly podcast. And you'll be blessed through the weekly podcast. There are powerful things that are being said in our audio podcast, and I want you to be partakers of that which the Lord have in store for you.